purpose of these focus groups is to first of all get people's reaction to it, give them a free look at it, then have a reaction to it, then try and talk about this whole subject of the human condition, right? And supposedly familiarise you to it. The problem is that it's what I call the death effect problem when you start talking about the human condition. It's a very difficult subject. I mean, you could be studying higher physics or higher mathematics or something and that'll give you a headache. But there's really nothing as daunting as the issue of us, ourselves, human condition. So that's what I want to talk about. All human behaviour is actually driven by or influenced by our fear of the human condition. So this book's going to present the explanation of human behaviour that is transforming. It's so effectively insightful and profound. But that explanation is based on our fear of the human condition. Now, the problem is when I start talking about the human condition, in order to explain our behaviour, the human mind blocks it out. So I'm in this catch-22. How do I... It's like if I had a tribe of people and they all suffered from snake phobia or something, and I'd written a book that explains how they can solve their snake phobia, right? And I mean, they don't know they've got snake phobia. And even when I say, look, well, why don't you go outside? You know, why are you always living indoors? And they said, oh, no, that's because I like carpets and I like square walls and I like doorways. And in fact, you know, going through doorways is what made humans stand upright. They've got all these theories based on this dishonest world they're living in. And so, you know, so I'm trying then to get them to read this book about their snake phobia. So I've got to introduce them to their snake phobia. Otherwise, they won't be able to hear what I'm saying. So I write this book about, so I've put a picture of a snake here, right? And so I supposedly put a book in front of them, so then they pick it up. So this is going to clear their snake phobia. So they go, oh, I'm not going to read that, right? And when they do start to read it, they have the death effect response. You know, I'm not going to read that. They can't. And so I'm sort of stranded. How do I get them to become aware that, in fact, this really does exist, this problem of the death effect, and how then to solve it? The two ways to solve it is to have someone talk about it and familiarise them about it, which is what I'm going to do now. And secondly is to reread it and be patient with it, because it will start to clear, the fog will start to lift. And you'll be astonished just how much deafness there is when you start to read about this historically forbidden realm of the human condition. So I have to overcome the death effect, so I have to connect people with what this reaction is that's going on in their mind so they can start to become aware of it. And not only that, sort of erode that death effect through talking about it. And supposedly that will reassure you about this subject area, and your subconscious mind will be reassured and be more relaxed and be able to take it in when it couldn't the first time. Just changed the whole world when someone finally can explain the riddle of human nature, why we are the way we are. And what I'm saying is why we are the way we are is greatly influenced by our fear of the human condition. So I've got to connect the reader to the human condition. That's my dilemma, how to do that.